I have been MIA for like 2.5 years because I have been building all of this. And what we have here right now are 3 iterations. This is now going to be version 3 of a Cycwall stage that I have built. Now, bear with me because I built this studio and I knew I could operate in it, and if I could, other people could. So version 1 of this was just a Cycwall with no cove or corners or anything. And somebody came in, they rented the studio and wanted to do a music video. And during that music video, they started to pan the camera and you could see my electric panel in the back. You could see my gear that was behind the stage. And I was like, I should probably fix that. So enter version 2. Version 2, if you look at me, I look like I'm in infinite space, right? Well, not here. I'm not in infinite space here. But here, no shadows behind me. I am in infinite space. Think of like the Matrix.
Okay, so what do you need besides a miracle?
Cameras. Lots of cameras. So now I built the cove and life was good for another year. You could pan the camera, but you had to stay here or over. Because I had like a TV here, I had some shelving in, and now I've ordered more curves. Because today, version 3 of the Cycwall is happening. All right, I did a little prep work, waiting on these curves to arrive and getting this part of the stage ready to accept the extension. Now, one of the things I know before I get started is that in building the rest of this, I have destroyed every favorite pair of jeans, shoes or boots, and shirts or sweatshirts that I own. So I'm going to change, and then we'll go ahead and place some curves. Okay. So all I'm going to do is go down the line and tack all of these in.
God bless, we're breaking these runs. Life too short to play on speed run. Only get one, no option to rerun. Where Babylon goes, too high to reach them. Down to earth, stay grinding when storms come. Rat race, only one to run from. Better say cheese, but saying split in the funds. Living in the moment, I ain't worried about none. I'm straight chillin', back against the wall, too acquainted with the feeling. Like I lost the mark, find a way from willing. Only fear God, not spreading his lost children. Price on my head, exploded a few.
So here we are. This is hardboard, and not cardboard. When you say it fast, anyhow, it's very rough on one side and very smooth on the other. Now, what I learned in hindsight is that this is a nightmare to paint. It actually hasn't been that bad for me because the whole surface of the Cycwall is the smooth side of this material. A little bit of scuffing, a primer, and you can patch it, paint it, repaint it, and I haven't had any issues for 2.5 years. I've got a couple I've got several sheets. Okay, so how I did this every other time was to butt this plywood into the curve, and if you ease it in, it should take the curve and then you can tack it in place. If you aren't familiar with Quickset, Quickset is a powder that you buy in a bag and you mix it with water till it's the consistency of mud, and it dries in whatever number is on the bag. So this gives me plenty of working time, and if I make any mistakes, there's plenty of time to correct them. But once it sets, it is very hard, and it's great to use this to fill in the gaps, and then that way it dries. By the time it dries, you're ready to go over with a joint compound, which typically takes hours or overnight to dry. So this will help me fill in all the seams, and then I can tape, and once I tape it, that will be the end of it, and hopefully I can finish this in the next couple of hours. So I just want to scuff up, get some of the sheen off, and hopefully I get some better adhesion. I want to cover as much as possible, as fast as possible. Well, not as fast as possible, I'm taking my time, but still, I don't want to be at this all day. All right, here's some clean water. Minutes, so you can stop and kind of take a look at what this looks like. You can see that consistency, and I know enough. Okay, so now we wait. Not the prettiest thing in the world, we'll get there. All right, so she is done, and I purposely haven't shown you the full stage. It's 24 feet by 20 feet, and I am actually in the corner, and if you can see my shadow, this is it, and a new extension starts here, works its way down, and if you cannot tell where it's come from or that there's an extension, then that means I did a pretty decent job. Are there a couple imperfections? Yes, there are. And if it comes to a point where I have to address them, I will. But one of them actually is the concrete hump is about right here. And I may have somebody come in, and I think they call it skimming, and they'll skim the wall, and that will ensure that I can get everything flat and you don't see any seams. There is one seam that you can see if the lights were out. No need to show you that, but since it is reflecting white, there are a couple of small imperfections that are imperceptible to the eye, and I am very happy. So hopefully, not even for myself, but it opens up lateral shooting this way on the x-axis, y-axis, and I can set up rail and put my dolly in here. Other people can use it, and you can move around in space. Hi, I'm a Mac.